Alright fam, the name is Xander or R, and I'm here to do a recent reads video because I haven't done a wrap up in like months. So I'm gonna talk about some just recent reads. I'm not gonna talk about everything I've read since like I stopped doing wrap ups because I feel like that would be a lot. But I am going to talk about stuff that I've read recently. We're gonna actually go backwards. So we're gonna start with the book I just finished today, which is Fence Disarmed. It's the sequel to Fence Striking Distance, which I read in March. Well, I can talk a little bit about what happens in this book, but first I should probably talk about Fence Striking Distance. Fence Striking Distance is like a companion. It takes place after volume 4 of Fence, the graphic novel series. And it's just about like team bonding and stuff like that. And this one, they go to a training camp in like France. And it's really good. It takes place like after the events of the first book. There's some stuff that goes on in the first book that I won't spoil, but like there's some fake dating, and that's handled in like the consequences of that are like handled in this book. So it's pretty good. If you like the Fence graphic novel series, I would highly recommend both of the novels. Sarah Reese Brennan, who wrote the books, did a really good job at capturing the characters. And it was great. It was great. Before that, I read the Magic in Manhattan series. I'll put Spellbound up so you can see it. Or actually, no. You know what? I'll try and put all 3 of the covers. The Magic in Manhattan series has Spellbound as the first book, Star-Crossed as the second book, and Wonderstruck as the third book. I actually have a whole like review for that, so I'm not going to talk about too much here. I'm just going to tell you that I really enjoyed it. It's a historical paranormal romance, and it's really good. I will let me from yesterday maybe, or Monday, explain the rest. Hopefully I'll have that out shortly after this video, so I won't leave you hanging for too long, or maybe I'll put it out before this video. I don't know. We'll see what I decide. But anyway, Magic in Manhattan series, fantastic. So fantastic, I did a separate review for it, so look forward to that, or go watch it if I've already posted it. We don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, Blaze Rat Games. I got it from the library, so I don't have it to hold up, because I had to return it. It's about, think like a sports competition, kind of like, unfortunately, Quidditch from Harry Potter, but with dragons. It's fantastic. It's, and it's different countries competing, right? So our main character is competing for Team Puerto Rico. So there's a bunch of there's a bunch of Spanish in it. One of the characters only speaks in Spanish. And so that's cool. Obviously, the author is Latinx herself. So, you know, its own voices in that regard. It's really good. And yeah, it's about like she hasn't been to Puerto Rico since she was like 4, I think. And so people one person on the team gives her shit about that and is like, you're not really a Puerto Rican, like you shouldn't be on this team, blah 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 blah. So it deals with like that kind of conflict, but also it has like an overarching conflict about like this dragon who became human because he was like a terrible dragon that kept like tormenting towns and like tearing them apart and stuff. So his writer like did a spell that like made him human, but now he's like freeing these like tethered dragons, and so they have to stop him, but they also have to play in the tournament of the Blaze Rock games, which is what the sport is called. It's good. I'm not explaining it very well, but it's good. And I believe the second book is out this year, and it's called Dragon Blood Ring. I'll put a cover of it somewhere. But yeah, so recommend that. Then I read Rule of Wolves, which is the sequel to King of Scars, which is the 8th book in the Grishaverse, I think. I'm not going to double check my math because I'm lazy. But yeah, so it's the sequel to King of Scars, so I can't really talk about the plot too much. But I can tell you that there is some, like, Leigh Bardugo really came in and, like, threw some surprise rep, like, in the book. Like, there's some queer rep in the book that you're not expecting. And I'll leave it at that, because I don't want to spoil it. Because it had me shook. Like, oh my god. It had me shook. Nikolai is, you know, doing Nikolai things. I did enjoy Rule of Wolves quite a bit more than I enjoyed King of Scars. It's not as boring, to say it bluntly. It's a lot more, like, there's some plot elements that I don't think should have been in the book. Like, we didn't need them, but it didn't ever really feel like the book was dragging. It just kind of felt like, why are we on this plot subject when we could be on a different plot subject? Whereas with King of Scars, it felt like it dragged and it was boring and there was nothing going on. So, if you read King of Scars and you didn't like it, I still think I would recommend Rule of Wolves, just because, like, you already know what's going on. You already read the first book. The second book's much better, so you might as well read it. And the ending of Rule of Wolves is good. And it may set up for some other books. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Then I read 3 of the Murderbot Diaries books. I reread All Systems Red. And then I listened to All Systems Red again, and then I listened to Artificial Condition and Rogue Protocol. I stopped for a little bit just because, like, I don't know, I wasn't feeling audiobooks really, and I wanted to, like, enjoy them as much as I could. So I was like, I'll take a break, we'll come back, because I do want to listen to the 4th and then 2 novels that are out. So I enjoy it. Murderbot is about an AI who overrode its governor module so it could be control of itself. And it, like, is going through, like, the plot. There's, like, plot. You know, it's just trying to live its life, watching TV shows. It's good. I really do like it. I need to continue it. I just have other books that I want to read too. Then I read The Silvered Serpents. This is the sequel to The Gilded Wolves, so I can't talk much about the plot. But The Gilded Wolves, in case you weren't aware, it was pretty popular when it came out, but I think it came out in 2018. It's compared to Six of Crows, because it's about a group of friends who do heists, but, like, it's not Six of Crows. I don't like it when people write it off as a Six of Crows ripoff, because it's not. It's so different. The magic system is so different. It takes place in, like, 19th century France, so it's not even, like, remotely close to the world of Six of Crows. So, you know, there's that. But yeah, if I was trying to explain the plot to somebody who was familiar with Six of Crows, I'd be like, it's kind of like Six of Crows in the sense that it has a group of friends who all, like, do heists, but like it's much more than that. There is a whole plot regarding these different houses that like form like the Order of Babel, which was like created because of the Tower of Babel from the Bible. And so basically there's this like shunned order that's like trying to recreate the Tower of Babel so they can like become gods, essentially. And so the first book deals a lot more with the heist, but the second book deals a lot more with that whole Tower of Babel thing. Like, yeah, there are still like heist elements in it, but it's more dealing with the Tower of Babel like plot line. So it's really good. The ending had me very shook. I cannot wait for the third book. And I would definitely recommend, if you haven't read The Gilded Wolves, I would recommend it. Maybe give it a chance. You can always DNF it. You can always start it and be like, this isn't for me, and DNF it. Like I did with the next book, which was recommended to me by the TBR service I used back like in January. And it's called Girl Meets Boy. It was supposed to be a Greek mythology retelling. I can't remember the specific myth. I think it was Iphis, and I can't remember. I can't remember the other person's name. But I believe one of the people's names is Iphis. And it's basically, the myth is like, kind of, I think, like a low-key trans myth, because I think in the myth, Iphis and this other person whose name I can't remember, I think Iphis was raised as a boy, but is like actually like, you know, assigned female at birth. And so when they, I don't know what pronouns to use, fall in love with the person, and it's revealed that they were assigned female at birth, like it's like a whole ordeal. But then like the gods come down and like make Iphis like an actual boy so that they can get married and everything's fine. So it's kind of like a trans thing, but from what I read, like, I don't even know how many pages I read. I didn't read much. I mainly DNF'd Girl Meets Boy because of the writing style. There are no quotation marks for speech, and it's written very stream of consciousness, and more power to you if you like stream of consciousness writing, but I don't. So it was a real struggle to get through what I got through, and I was like, I'm not gonna read this. So I didn't read it. So I can't recommend that one unless you really like stream of consciousness writing. I really also didn't get where it was pulling from the myth, but maybe I didn't read far enough into it to really get to that. But it was a tiny book, so like you would think they would start right off the bat, but whatever. So lastly, I'm going to talk a little bit about Saga. I started Saga. I think I got to volume 5, and then I stopped reading it for some reason. I'm going to pick it up again, because the library has it. I've been reading it through, I think it's Hoopla, and it's good. It's really good. Saga is basically about a, like, person from one planet falling in love with a person from a different planet, and the two planets are at war with each other. So it's like forbidden love, but they have a baby, and now they're on the run with the baby. And there's shenanigans. That's really how I can explain it. I don't know how to explain it any other way. So yeah, I read 5 volumes of that. It was very good. I'm planning on continuing it. Maybe that's what I'll do now that I finished Fence Disarmed, and I have a buddy read coming up on the 1st of June. This is the 20th. So maybe well, I guess it wouldn't take me that long to read sagas like the rest of Saga, but you know, I'll try something like that. To make this video even longer, because it needs to be even longer. I wanted to show you guys the copy of Mr. Impossible I got yesterday. It's the Owl Crate copy. I don't have the Owl Crate copy of Call Down the Hawk, but like I wanted this one anyway. It has a reversible dust jacket. And it's also signed. Let me get to that. It's also signed. So yeah, it's neat. And then another thing I got yesterday, when I picked up my mail, is this book sleeve in print. It's Andreal, and I love them so much. You can really see, like, here, I'll hold up the book sleeve because it's bigger. You can really see, like, Neil's scars on his arms, and I really love that. So I was like, yes, I need this book sleeve in my life. Also, it has the cat. Gotta love the cat. So anyway, it's a really nice book sleeve. Like here, I have Fence disarmed right here. It fits nicely in the book sleeve. Wow. Book sleeve. So yeah, it's a nice book sleeve. And then it came with a print of the same thing. So I'm like I'm living my best life. Comment question of the day. Have you read any of these books? And if so, what did you think about them? Because I can't think of another question. And if you want to just leave an emoji, you can leave a, like, the Crossing Swords for Fence, because that's the book I just finished reading. And I like that emoji. Or you can, like, leave the fencing person. Either works. Just something to do with fencing. Just a fencing emoji. And with all that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.